BetMGM came out with their results for the NFC North, and the Lions were number one at plus 150. Alex, could you throw up the graphic for me? It should be in there. You need to see these odds because they don't completely make too much sense to me looking at them. Well, the Lions do, 150. They think they should be favorites, but the Packers and Vikings tied. Interesting. And then you have the Bears slightly behind them, like they have any chance at all to win the division. But they do have a lot of money. So, again, the NFL, if you can turn things around quickly, it is in this league. But, Sam, first we'll start with Za'Darius Smith. Especially if they cut Za'Darius. That's a big-time player for the Vikings.
Well, that's the thing about the Vikings. And what's one of the Vikings, first of all, were one of the greatest statistical anomalies that you will ever see in NFL history. Because Za'Darius Smith, he might have been their best defensive player. He actually balled out. He was a successful signing. He had 10 sacks, which is exactly what you bring him to Minnesota to do if you're the Minnesota Vikings, and he pretty much delivered. But all that being said, with Za'Darius Smith having 10 sacks, with Danielle Hunter having 10-plus sacks, with Patrick Peterson having, I think, the second most interceptions in a season of his career, Harrison Smith having a good year, and Eric Kendricks, basically playing like Eric Kendricks, the Minnesota Vikings still had a worse defense than the Detroit Lions, who over the totality of the season had a bad defense. And the Minnesota Vikings also had a worse offense than the Detroit Lions. They had a worse turnover differential than the Detroit Lions. They were outscored, and they were also outscored on the season.
The point differential was bad.
It's insane.
For a 13-win team, it was bad. Lions had a better point differential.
And the reason I kind of bring them both together with Za'Darius Smith and the odds to win the division is because the Minnesota Vikings, if you think that they are going to be able to duplicate that, go 11-0 in one-score games, that is something that, if I were a betting man, no team in NFL history will ever do again. And all of that happened. All that, poor defensive play and everything with Za'Darius Smith on the team balling out, with Eric Kendricks on the team playing well, who was also released, with Patrick Peterson, who is also a free agent on the team. So I think that kind of opens up the opportunity for the Lions. One of the reasons to open up the opportunity for the Lions to be the favorites, because the Vikings, we all know that they were a bit fraudulent.